Now, inactivity is a time bomb which could affect us when it comes to our health. It's vitally important that we keep ourselves moving, get the blood flowing, and that can keep us healthier as we head through life. Somebody who knows what we need to do here is Executive Director for Placement Sport England, Lisa Dodd-Mayne. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Jason.
Now, it's a concern because we're seeing kids in 53 deprived areas who need this boost to their health and well-being, and that includes the Black Country and the West Midlands, doesn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. We're taking a place-based approach. What we've found is that not everybody across the country has the same chances to be active. We want to change that. Your life, where you live, should not dictate how long you live, but actually that's what we're finding. So, for example, lifespan can vary for up to 9 years depending on where you live. So we want to invest in the top 10% of areas across the country. You mentioned 53 places, of which the active Black Country and the West Midlands are some of those. But those places are in the top 10% for inactivity, health inequality, social need and deprivation.
Yeah, and we're looking here at Wolverhampton being on the list, and Walsall, Stoke-on-Trent, Sandwell, and Dudley as being identified as one of those 53 areas which are of particular concern.
Absolutely. So we started this work about 7 years ago. So we had something called local delivery pilots. So we work particularly in Birmingham and in Solihull to understand this community-based approach. So what we want to do now is work through our active partnership in Active Black Country to invest national lottery funding up to £250 million over 5 years to specifically target and break down the barriers that those communities in those areas that you mentioned are facing.
So what can we expect to see here in Wolverhampton?
So what you can expect to see here is working very much with the community. So Active Black Country will be going out, working with locally trusted organisations, community groups, to first of all listen and understand some of the challenges that they're facing in getting active. We know for some people in those areas, they're more, they're worried about putting a meal on the table for the children. So actually what we've got to think about is understanding the barriers that they're facing, be it cost, be it transport links, and then start to work together a plan to co-create that with the community to give them the opportunities and the activities and maybe facilities to be active.
And are we aiming at kids here, or is it the whole wide range of age groups?
It's a whole range from cradle to grave, as we say. So what we found is actually people's inactivity levels in those areas are probably circa 35% against the national average of 20% in the more wealthier areas. So they've got a real challenge. But we also know that every pound we spend on sport or physical activity, 20 back to the local economy. So we know it also saves money for the NHS. So we know that people who have got a healthy lifestyle saves £10.5 billion a year for the care system. So if we can get more people to be active, it prevents them getting chronic illnesses and it reduces the use of the health services.
So that £4.20 impact on our environment for every pound you spend is huge. And it just means that the sort of totals that you're looking at here are going to be absolutely massive for the economy, but most of all, amazing for the people who live here.
Absolutely. It's a win-win. We talk about physical activity being the magic pill, and it really is.
What sort of activity are we looking at, and what sort of time are people needing to put to this to be able to get themselves into a better position with their health?
Okay, so we won't prescribe the type of activity. As I said before, this is very much about what the local community needs. So we will work with those local community groups to understand what that need is and then make sure that the right activity is put on. But actually, I think wider than that, this is not just about, the sport physical activity services. This is wider. So, let's think about how we connect up local parts of that place. So, for example, if somebody can't get a local transport to go and visit a facility or a local park, how can we influence the transport colleagues to think about active travel, think about the designing of those places? So we're actually not just putting on short-term 12-week programs, which then stop. This is about changing the system for the long term to give people that opportunity to be active and ultimately just move more.
And particularly, we're looking here that there are more women who are disadvantaged people from the Black and Asian communities are disadvantaged. So we need to make sure that we're getting equality across the board, and an equality which also pushes up everybody's quality of life.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. This is about doing the right thing for the right people within those local organisations and local communities.
So can community organisations apply for funding here? How does it work?
So the way that it'll work is we'll work with Active Black Country, and Active Black Country will then look at a range of opportunity for them. So, for example, some of the things we might fund are capital projects or buildings or refurbishments, but some of the other things will be interventions. So if we know that they might need a walking group or a running group, we'll start work with Active Black Country to make sure that we've got the investment going into the right places and it's what the community needs. And we've seen that across the country. You know, we've seen where this is working. So we've seen that where we've got active madrasas, for example, we've seen where people have embedded active design into housing plans. So when you live on a housing estate, do we make it easy to be active or do we make it really difficult? So it's working alongside everybody that it's easy to ride your bike and it feels safe.
And of course, there's brilliant work going on with the Wolverhampton Wrestling Club. They're promoting kabaddi ahead of the 2025 Kabaddi World Cup. So it has more of an impact too. I mean, it's people may not know enough about the sport of kabaddi at the moment. They find out, they may suddenly become addicted to at least watching it, if not taking part, and that sort of thing inspires.
Absolutely does. You know, we always see, you know, the nation gets behind big sporting events, you know, when we see them on the TV. You know, how do we know that the next future kabaddi world champion is not actually in your patch?
Oh, I'd like to think they may well be. Wolverhampton Wrestling Club will help them get to the fore. But I mean, even down the road in Warsaw, you've got something like Simple Steps, cycling, walking, and mental health support, predominantly for Asian women here. It's again that balance and making sure we've got something which is accessible to all parts of our community, and in such a way as they may have not so much been excluded, just not had an opportunity. So it's putting those opportunities there.
Absolutely, but it's working with them. So we're not going to prescribe what it is we think they need. They know what they need. So we work with them for them to understand what opportunities will work for them, and then we work to make them a reality.
So they're quite frightening inactivity rate in Wolverhampton to 35.3%. That's how many adults are not getting the exercise they need. And what sort of triggers that? I mean, what point of inactivity are we looking at? Less than 10 minutes a day, or how does it work?
So the guidelines for an adult, the guidelines from the chief medical officer are 150 minutes a week. But actually, let's just start by something really small. If you remember during the pandemic, what did most people do? They went for a walk because that was the only thing that you were allowed to do. So it's starting in a really, really simple way, building things up that it fits in within their lifestyle, and then it just becomes a habit.
Yeah, so whether you fancy a wander around West Park and do that as a bit of speed walking if you can, or whether there's another type of activity, whether it's cycling to work, that sort of thing, all this can add up to give you a better, healthier life and a longer life too, which is what counts.
Absolutely. And why would you not want to do that?
Yeah, it's about quality though, isn't it too? And whereas people tend to live longer these days, you actually want the quality right the way through.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And being active gives you that quality of life.
So where can we go for more information about the program itself?
Okay, so I direct people to the Active Black Country's website where all the information is on there, or Sport England's website. As I said, we'll be working through the Active Black Country for them to work alongside the local communities there.
But take a look and see the rest of the great work that's been done by Sport England and see how you can support.
Absolutely.
Executive Director for Place at Sport England, Lisa Dodd Mayne, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.